Sectumsempra, a curse that a lot of wizards have always considered should be an unforgivable curse, was created by our very own Professor Snape.
Obviously.
But did he create more? Our half-blood prince was gifted in potions, but apparently in the making of spells as well. Join us. Today on Fantasy Archive we go through our favorite Slytherin professor's copy of Advanced Potion Making. We will go over how spells are made, discover which other spells Severus created out of his own mind to change some of the rules of the wizarding world, and the many times they were used on others and on himself. It is said that spells are created in unison with a witch or wizard's needs. They are born from the most intimate emotions and personality of the creator itself, together with his wand movement and the choice of words they use. The intention is usually the key. Like when you use an unforgivable curse, you must want to harm or control the being you're cursing. As we read and see in the Order of the Phoenix, Harry cannot use the Cruciatus curse on Bellatrix Lestrange because he doesn't wish true harm to the person that killed his godfather. Severus, who a lot of fans considered a true hero, was always a lonely child. When he arrived for his first years at Hogwarts, he knew a lot more spells than the average 7th-year student. He always felt a fascination for the dark arts, although not as much as Lord Voldemort. Most of the spells on this list were created during his time at Hogwarts, except one. That one. The curse that almost kills Draco Malfoy in The Half-Blood Prince, which he created a little bit later. These are the 7 spells that Severus Snape created on his own, some resulting in horrifying moments, while others get to be very handy and even funny. Muffliato. This is a simple but very useful one. Muffliato is a minor spell that creates a buzzing in every person's ears so that no one can hear you talk when you are trying to have a private conversation in a crowded place. Considering that Snape ended up as a Death Eater, it makes sense that he created a spell that allowed him to share delicate information when others were around. What's truly fascinating is that in the years prior to the arrival of Harry Potter at Hogwarts, Professor Flitwick taught Muffliato to the 5th years without knowing that said spell had been created by an ex-student, later colleague, Severus Snape. Both Harry and Hermione got to use this spell. Harry when trying to keep 6 years from overhearing him when he discussed Horace Slughorn's memories with Hermione and Ron, and Hermione to safeguard the campsite she shared with Harry Potter and Ron Weasley on Dartmoor while they searched for Lord Voldemort's Horcruxes. Toenail Growing Hex. As its name says, this hex makes a person's toenail grow beyond control for some seconds until the spell itself stops. This is obviously used only as a mild joke that can end with some weird and disgusting scenes, mostly in the Hogwarts corridors. In 1996, Harry Potter cast this curse on Vincent Crabbe in the hallway. Ron Weasley suggested targeting Carmack McLaggen as well. Langlock. This is indeed one of the most interesting spells created by Snape. This jinx allows the caster to stick the tongues of his enemies to the roof, making them unable to speak and cast any spell. Said spell became very famous at the end of the 80s, when it was used far more times than in any other era. In the books, we see it performed by Harry, twice on Filch, and once on Peeves when he ties Peeves' tongue to the roof of the castle. Peeves was a ghost at Hogwarts and a constant pain in the school's residents, though he did like to help Fred and George with their mischief. Levicorpus. Thought of as a practical joke, but used even for torture by the Death Eaters to muggles. Levicorpus allows the caster to hang a person by its ankles until the counter-jinx is muttered. Harry accidentally cast it at Ron, unaware of what it would do. In order for Harry to reach the Hufflepuff cup in the Lestrange vault, Hermione used this to elevate him by the ankle. According to Lupin, the Levicorpus spell was in fashion when he was in school with James. Looking at Snape's darkest memory in the Pensieve, Harry witnessed his father James cast this jinx on a young Severus Snape. Probably both Lupin and James were unaware that Snape had invented it as the Half-Blood Prince. In the movies, we also see this spell on the Order of the Phoenix, cast only by Luna during the Army of Dumbledore training. Additionally, she used it in the Battle of the Department of Mysteries. Levicorpus varies in the movies, since the receiver of the spell is projected at great heights and velocity and not hanged by the ankles, making it a far more offensive weapon than a practical joke like in the books. Libracorpus. This is simply the counterjinx to Levicorpus, created also by Snape and, ironically, used against him by his archenemy James Potter. Besides that, it has no other use and isn't featured practically at all in the story besides the Order of the Phoenix flashbacks. It's very interesting when we pause to look at the fact that for every important and mid-power spell, Snape always had a counter-jinx or counter-curse ready to subside the effects of the same enchantments that he personally created. If he really was a dark wizard like Voldemort, Sectumsempra would be a lethal curse like the Killing Curse, and a practical joke like Levicorpus could turn out to be far more dangerous than the canon version that we see in the story. Sectumsempra. When Snape created the Sectumsempra curse, he had darkness in his heart. Being in the early Death Eater years, he truly wanted to cut his enemies to pieces, the Marauders among them. The right words, along with the unique wand movement, concluded in one of the most dangerous spells ever created. Luckily, he didn't teach it to anyone. Harry learnt it by accident when he found the Newt-level potions textbook that Snape used in his 6th year. This is, without a doubt, the most dangerous spell ever created by Snape, and one that, as we said before, is considered by a lot of wizards as dark as an unforgivable curse. Sectumsempra, when cast, acts as an invisible sword, cutting the victim of the curse until it dies from the loss of blood. Snape created this curse when he was already a Death Eater to kill the members of the Order of the Phoenix. A smart plan, because none of the members, not even Dumbledore, knew the counter-curse. In The Half-Blood Prince, both the book and the movie, when Harry chases Snape through the castle grounds, he unleashes Sectumsempra on Snape, trying to kill him. Obviously, Snape stops the attack without even flinching, saying the famous phrase, "Do you dare use my own spells against me?" Vulnera Sanentur. This is not only the counter-curse to Sectumsempra, but the best healing spell to heal cuts and lacerations, unless they are produced by a curse. Then it's impossible to heal any cut or lost limb and body part. Snape uses it in the books and the movies when restoring Draco Malfoy back to health when he is cursed by Harry Potter in a magical duel in a bathroom. When Harry saw the effects of this healing charm on Malfoy, he suggested to Madame Pomfrey, the nurse of the castle, to use it on Bill Weasley to heal the slash that the werewolf Fenrir Greyback. The thing is that an attack by any lycanthrope cannot be healed by any known spell because werewolves are born by an infection which is incurable. Given that Gellert Grindelwald used this spell in a sinister ceremony to reanimate a dead Killin in 1932, 28 years before Snape was born, it's plausible that Snape discovered it and modified it to only heal wounds. These 7 spells created by Severus Snape are considered some of the most important ones in all the 20th century, being the most famous ones, Levicorpus and Langlock. Unfortunately, when Snape cast Sectumsempra to protect Fred Weasley's life, the curse rebounded and resulted in the loss of his ear. This made the Order of the Phoenix distrust him. Though, it wasn't the worst outcome when you think about the damage that could have done.